How's it going, you guys? It's Scott with Everyday Home Repairs, and I want to walk through some cordless drill basics with you today. This should get you a little more comfortable and getting more use out of your cordless drill around the house on your projects and doing that safely. We'll start off running through all the different features on a common cordless drill and how to use those features. Then we'll get into kind of the bits, because there's a lot of different bits you can use or attachments that give you a wider variety of projects that you can take on with your cordless drill. And then at the end, we'll touch on safety and what brand or type of drill do I recommend getting started with if you're looking to buy one in the near future. So we'll jump in, talk through all these different switches, numbers, and features on a cordless drill to get you more comfortable. We'll start at the top and then work our way down, going through all the different features that you'll commonly find. First up, you'll find the speed selector. This usually is just going to have a 1 and 2 position. What that does is it changes the internal gearing to make the drill turn faster or slower. 1 position is slower. I'll usually use that for driving in screws, and then move it to 2 for drilling a hole. Next up is the clutch torque selection ring. So this will do a few different things. First, it will set the torque that the drill will provide prior to the clutch engaging. So if I turn it down and just hold on to the chuck, you can see the clutch engages. So it won't deliver much torque before it'll start to slip and the clutch will engage. Now you can crank that up and you'll have to hold on much tighter to get it to actually engage. So you usually find a range of numbers from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. So this Makita goes to 16. This Bosch sets to 18 for your different settings on the clutch torque. What you'll usually then see, so after your clutch torque, you'll have a setting that would lock up the clutch, and that would be used for drilling. So if I wanted to drill, I'd be a speed setting 2 and set it to drill, and now the clutch will not slip. It will be locked up in that case. Now this is not a hammer drill. So if you had a hammer drill, such as this Bosch or this other Makita, there's another selection ring on the Bosch where I'd set it to the hammer setting, and then I'd also set it to drill in the speed of 2. What the hammer setting does, it'll also give you a hammer movement, which will help you drill holes, something like a masonry bit, and drilling into brick or into concrete. And it's really necessary because it's very hard to drill a hole in a hard surface such as concrete or brick without the hammer feature. So next up we have our chuck. This is a keyless chuck, which is by far the most popular today, but they used to actually have a key that you needed to tighten this chuck. What the chuck does is if we loosen the jaws up there, and it retracts the jaws, so you can see those jaws move in or they move out. What that's going to do is actually hold on to the bit you're using. So you place your bit, make sure it's centered up. You can either hand tighten that, so now it is torqued down and holding that bit secure, or you can use the drill itself and tighten it up, or loosen it to remove the drill bit. So that is the chuck, and that's how you're going to secure any type of bit into your drill. Next up, you'll have a work area light. Any cordless drill that you buy today, you should really look for a work area light that really helps out in low light scenarios, and it will illuminate your fastener or your area that you're going to be drilling the hole into, and will help you get the job done right. Then you have a directional switch. This actually has 3 different positions, 2 changing the direction, and the middle serving as a safety where you cannot pull the trigger. Next up we have the trigger. Pretty much any cordless drill is going to have what's called a proportional trigger. So if you just depress slightly, it's going to turn very slow, and then the speed will be proportional to how much you pull. That just helps with controllability of your drill. Then you'll just have your handle or your grip. I always like to have a belt hook for any of the drills that I buy, so you can hang it right off your belt and then go about your project. And then finally, you'll have your battery. So not all batteries are created equal. These are both 18 volt. It's on the 18 volt lithium ion platform for Makita. You'll see size changes, but then you'll also see usually a rating for how many amp hours. This is a 3. You can get the same form factor for a 5 and even 6 amp hour. That's going to give you a lot more working time for every charge. So just do be careful. You'll want to get as high of an amp hour as you can to make sure you have the longest running battery. So now let's take a look at the bits and attachments. Now, if you're just starting off, this will get you 90% of the way there, and that is a good set of drill bits, both working in wood and metal. Usually that'll start off all the way at a 1/16, but then work up to a 1/2 inch hole. And then a set of bits, which will give you different Phillips heads, some Torx, a Robertson square drive, you get some flat heads, and then also some nut drivers, depending on which set you get. So this would be great for drilling, again, 90% of your holes, and then this would be for fastening about 90% of the fasteners you'll work with. Now, depending on the fastener you use, sometimes you will get some custom bits that you need to have. These are both from a company called Spax, and they make screws, which I actually prefer. I like to carry some Spax with me instead of using kind of default Phillips head screws that come in packages, but you need to have these custom bits, and I keep those just in the standard kit. But like we talked about, there is a wide range of applications or projects you can accomplish with a cordless drill. So you might need to do some drilling into brick or concrete, so you need a masonry bit like this, and also you're going to need to have that hammer drill setting, so something to keep in mind. When wanting to drill holes, you can have a spade bit like this, or a hole saw where you have your center drill bit to align your hole, and then the hole saw, which will actually cut out the diameter hole you're looking for. Now these can be swappable, so you can keep that same center bit and then swap in different size hole saws to fit your application. This one I use to quickly adjust strike plates, so deadbolt or a latch can fit within a strike plate, which is a common issue. Then you can also get different wire brushes or sandpaper to kind of substitute for, let's say, a grinder with just your drill, especially if you're just doing a small job and you don't have the other tools handy. And there are a ton of other options, including attachments that can allow you to change the angle and get into tight spots, which is very handy for automotive, and this one comes in handy for HVAC and ductwork. Finishing up, let's touch on safety and also what brand do I recommend if you're just getting started in terms of cordless drills. Now, when you're drilling, really no matter the application, I do highly recommend that you use safety glasses for eye protection. This is especially true if you're drilling at your head level or above your head, because there is a high likelihood that some debris is going to kick off and could get caught in your eye. Now, if you nick your finger, that's one thing. It's going to heal up pretty fast, not a big deal. But if you get something caught in your eye and you damage your eye permanently, that is a much, much larger deal. So just take the precaution and wear your safety glasses in pretty much every application using your cordless drill. In addition, if I'm drilling a hole in drywall or plaster, I will use a respirator or at least a dust mask to make sure the dust and debris is not getting into my lungs and I'm breathing that in throughout the day and throughout the job. Then from a safety end, the most common way that you can get injured is usually when you're drilling with a spade bit or hole saw. Remember, you're going to be in the drill setting, so there's going to be no give to the clutch. The clutch isn't going to give way. And what happens is usually you're drilling your hole, and at the end of the drill, it's very common, especially if you're pushing too hard, for the spade or the hole saw to get bound up. So now all of a sudden your bit is stationary and the drill will want to swing around, which then can injure you. It can, depending on where the drill's at, you could catch yourself in the jaw, or if there's a board or some hard surface, you could swing around and crush a finger. So just be careful when you're drilling those larger holes that you have a tight hold and control of what you're doing. And then when you're ending your cut, let the bit do the work. Do not force it through, or your likelihood of binding and getting a blowout on the other side and damaging the wood as well is highly likely. So those are just a few safety tips when it comes to cordless drill. Now, which one would I pick if I was just getting started? I did a survey a while back and thousands of people voted. The most common for professionals and DIYers was Milwaukee and DeWalt. They make a wide range of drills and just in general cordless tools. So those were the most common. Now I'm a Makita kind of guy, and that's what I go with. But if I was just getting started, to be honest, I recommend Ryobi and the OnePlus 18-volt battery platform. Now, they're not sponsoring this video. I just think bang for the buck, that's the best to go with. There's a wide selection of tools if you want to expand out from a cordless drill, which I think is the first power tool that you should get. And in the comments on that survey, many people did note that Ryobi was their go-to because they're just not using their tools that much, so they don't need the higher quality of DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Makita, and they don't need the higher price tag. But let me know what you guys think. Did I miss anything? And also, what is your go-to for DIYers in terms of the brand and battery platform? In this day and age, it's just as important to pick the right battery platform because of the wide range of tools that you get, and you want to stay with the same batteries since that is the most expensive part to any power tool. Now, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our channel as we have multiple videos coming out per week to help you around the house with your repairs and improvements, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.